Hello you gorgeous people out in there, and welcome back to another video on the rocket top. My name is Philip, and today I'm going to talk about the real importance of the success of Perseverance's mission for future human exploration of Mars. And let's go. After 6 months of journey, the Perseverance rover made by NASA has finally touched down on Mars on the 18th of February 2021. After descending through the atmosphere and breaking down with a heat shield and a supersonic parachute, the rover has gently touched down on the surface, getting lowered by a sky crane, which is a pretty daring maneuver, but that's not important for this video. It can now begin its primary mission, searching for alien life on Mars. Because Jezero crater is thought to have been a crater lake in some point of Mars's history, and now there could be remnants of alien life, fossils, or just biologic substances that are created by bacteria or something like that, which Perseverance is focusing on to find. But that's not the real truth of what Perseverance's mission is about, because it is also a major milestone for the human exploration of Mars. Just like its sister rover or predecessor Curiosity, which landed on Mars in 2012, Perseverance is outfitted with multiple scientific experiments and new technology that is being tested or conducted on the surface of Mars at some point during the mission. And one of those experiments is really important for the future of human spaceflight, although it might not seem that important, but it really is one of the biggest milestones that have to be achieved to bring humans to Mars. Or, to be more exact, to bring them back. Of course, I'm talking about the, here it comes, Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, or better known as Moxie, because that's clearly the more easy name. Moxie is basically a small golden box inside of the Perseverance rover, but what it does is really important because it tries to extract oxygen from Mars' atmosphere. As you might already know, the atmosphere of Mars has nearly no oxygen in it. It is mostly CO2, about 95%, a bit of nitrogen, and a bit of argon, and then 0.1% of oxygen, which is nearly nothing, so humans can't breathe here. But if we want to explore the Mars with astronauts, we need to somehow get air for our astronauts to breathe, or they will just step outside of their spacecraft and they're instantly dead. We don't want that, so we have to get our oxygen from somewhere, and luckily the atmosphere of Mars is full of carbon dioxide, so we have oxygen, but not in a breathable form. We need to somehow extract it from the carbon dioxide and make it into oxygen. Luckily, we already have done this on Earth, not on Mars yet. So we expect this to work on Mars too, because why shouldn't it? But what if it doesn't? Just imagine we send astronauts to Mars and then, well, they can't extract the oxygen from the atmosphere of Mars and they basically die. That would be a huge catastrophe and would not be helpful for plans of Mars exploration. So we need to test this in-situ resource utilization for oxygen somehow on Mars. And this is where Moxie comes into play, because that is basically what Moxie is supposed to do, to prove that we can get oxygen from the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere of Mars. And that's the reason why Moxie is especially interesting for SpaceX, because SpaceX wants to produce their own propellant made out of CH4, methane, and oxygen in their own power plants on Mars someday. So if Moxie proves that we can, in fact, produce oxygen on Mars, everything is basically ready for SpaceX to try to go even one step further and get methane from the atmosphere with a similar procedure, just with different gases. So Moxie helps us to get a crewed mission to Mars on board Starship, because without knowing that we can get fuel from the surface of Mars, we'll never get back from there. And a one-way trip is not what everybody wants, especially not when you're the first on Mars, because The first people on Mars, they have no city or anything base-like there to stay for a long time. They need to go back, and we need to somehow give them the ability to produce their own propellant, but this is a different story and not the main focus of my video today. I think I've just gone too far into speculation, but let's go back to Perseverance, because there's something else Perseverance has already done, which could turn out really important for future Mars missions. And this is a part of the landing procedure of the rover. I'm talking about terrain relative navigation. This is a technique Perseverance used to avoid hazards during a landing, because Jezero Crater isn't that of a nice landing spot. There are rocks and mountains everywhere, and you don't want to hit those or your rover will be destroyed. So what Perseverance does is it takes photos during its descent towards the surface of Mars and compares them with an orbiter map that was made by the MRO, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, in the last years, and compares those two images. And so it finds out where it is and where it has to go to stick to the flight path it is intended to follow. If the terrain relative navigation finds out that Perseverance isn't on that flight path, it can divert if necessary, and this completely autonomous from Earth. Because we can steer the spacecraft, it is a few million kilometers away, and the problem here is there's a delay between Earth and Mars, a few minutes, and you can't fly this in real time, so it has to do it all by itself. And this new technique of terrain relative navigation makes the landing a lot safer. And if we send astronauts to Mars in a few years, we might want terrain relative navigation on the astronaut spacecraft too, because we don't want them to hit a mountain. So Perseverance has proven that this system works very good, and it might be used in future vehicles too, not only in rovers but also on crewed vehicles to ensure a safe landing for people on Mars. This is especially important in the first years of trying to do a Mars base, because we don't have a landing pad in the first years and we could easily hit some type of rock. So terrain relative navigation is a huge milestone for the arrival on Mars. And apart from all this technical and scientific stuff, Perseverance does mainly one thing: exciting the public for Mars missions. And excitement in Mars missions is good, especially in this case, because there's no real interest from NASA at the moment in a manned Mars mission, or at least not in the next years. They want to wait until the 2030s. But if we excite the people for a manned mission to Mars, it is more likely politicians will fund it. Because politicians want the people to like them. And if the people like spaceflight, politicians maybe fund the spaceflight better to make the people like them. It's as easy as that. So Perseverance helps to raise the budget for Mars mission at NASA. And that's what it's all about: exciting the people and the world to be part of something bigger. Crewed Mars exploration. It sounds great, doesn't it? And that's it for me for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did so, why not consider to become one of my first subscribers and liking the video? Would be very thankful for that. I'm out. Cheers.